The deep, untamed forests of the southeastern United States have forever been a canvas for human imagination, with the legend of Bigfoot being one of its most enduring portraits. For decades, the search for the Sasquatch has been dominated by blurry photographs and anecdotal tales. But now, a new breed of investigator is taking up the hunt. The team from Expedition Bigfoot, a specialized task force featuring former military survival expert Russell Accord and world-renowned primatologist Dr. Mireya Mayor, is applying a rigorous, scientific, and technologically advanced methodology to separate myth from potential biological reality. Their latest expedition into a remote hotspot represents one of the most sophisticated efforts to date to capture definitive evidence of the elusive creature. The team's approach is a far cry from simply wandering through the woods. It is a multifaceted campaign that blends Russell Accord's elite tactical tracking skills with Dr. Mayor's analytical, scientific rigor. Their operation began not with a chase, but with observation. They identified a strategic vantage point, a piece of high ground that offered a commanding, sweeping view of the dense river valley below. This was a calculated choice. This kind of elevated perch is precisely where a large, intelligent creature would position itself to survey its territory for both prey and threats, remaining completely undetected. The landscape itself was a key character in their investigation. The forest floor was a tangled, living carpet of kudzu, an invasive vine that creates a nearly impenetrable undergrowth, swallowing trees and abandoned structures alike. For the casual hiker, it is a nuisance. For the researchers, however, it was the perfect concealment. This dense foliage provides an ideal environment for a large creature to move stealthily, hidden from plain view, offering a plausible explanation for how such a massive animal could remain so elusive. Their most critical tool was their arsenal of thermal imaging technology. The principle is straightforward but powerful, Dr. Mayor explained, her eyes fixed on the glowing screen. Anything that puts off a heat trace against this cool background temperature will show up on my thermals. It doesn't care about shadows or foliage, it sees the heat. This technology effectively rendered the dark, dense woods transparent, turning thousands of acres of impenetrable forest into a searchable landscape where any warm-bodied creature would be revealed as a beacon of light. The investigation shifted from a broad survey to a targeted hunt with a crucial tip from Russell Accord. After speaking with locals and cross-referencing decades of sighting reports, he directed the team to a specific, isolated stretch of blacktop that cut through the heart of the wilderness. This road was infamous in regional lore, a known hotspot for frequent and fleeting Bigfoot crossings. The stories were consistent: large, bipedal, shadowy figures seen darting across the highway in a flash of movement, vanishing into the thick woods on the other side before stunned motorists could even process what they had seen. The team theorized that these quiet, secluded roads would function as natural pathways for a large animal moving between territories. Under the cover of darkness, a creature could use these clear, man-made corridors to travel quickly and efficiently, avoiding the noisy, tangled underbrush. This convergence of anecdotal evidence and logical theory re-energized the search. They now had a specific, high-probability target zone. As night fell, the team set up a tactical observation post. The secluded area became eerily still, the silence so profound it was deafening. Russell Accord positioned the thermal cameras with practiced precision, ensuring they had a clear line of sight down the road and into the woodline. If a large creature attempted to cross, there would be nowhere for it to hide. The team settled into a tense vigil, the quiet of the night pressing in around them. Every minute stretched into an eternity, every rustle of leaves or snap of a twig felt magnified, significant. All eyes were locked on the luminous thermal display, waiting for a signature to break the cool, static pattern of the forest. Then, it happened. Not on the road, but in the forest beside it. A figure materialized on the thermal screen, a massive, bright white silhouette standing out against the cooler background. It was far larger and taller than any deer or elk they had logged that night. Its posture and movement were immediately and jarringly different. "It looks like it's trying to close in on them," a team member whispered, the tension palpable in their voice. The creature was fully upright and bipedal, moving with a deliberate, calculated grace completely unlike the quadrupedal gait of a bear or the skittish movements of other large mammals. It stalked purposefully through the underbrush, its movements fluid and intentional, suggesting a predator intensely aware of its surroundings. The team watched in stunned, breathless silence as the figure began to close the distance on a group of elk grazing unsuspectingly in a small clearing. The prey animals sensed the threat moments later. Their body language shifted instantly from calm grazing to hypervigilance. Heads shot up, ears twitched, and the herd shifted nervously, their instincts screaming at the presence of an invisible predator. But just as a confrontation seemed imminent, the creature demonstrated its profound elusiveness. It simply melted away, vanishing back into the dense, dark vegetation with an uncanny speed and silence. The elk, spooked and scattered, bolted into the woods. The team was left frozen, trying to process the fleeting, electrifying, and deeply unsettling encounter. The aftermath, lingering questions and renewed resolve. The sighting was brief, but its impact was lasting. Later that same night, as the team moved to another section of the road, another, closer heat signature flashed on the screen. A brief, fluid flash of movement just 200 yards away. It was there and then gone, as if the creature was monitoring them, staying deliberately on the periphery of their technology. In the debrief, the team grappled with the evidence. "What we saw in that thermal could have been anything," one researcher admitted, a note of frustration in their voice. "But I don't know of any animal that moves quite like that. It was purposeful. It was intelligent." The evidence they gathered was tantalizing but, like so much of Bigfoot lore, ultimately inconclusive. A ghost in the machine, a shadow in the data that raised more questions than it answered. There was no clear photograph, no definitive DNA sample. Yet, for the Expedition Bigfoot team, this was not an ending, but a critical waypoint. The glimpse of the unknown, the sheer strangeness of the thermal signature, and the corroborating behavior of the local wildlife have only hardened their resolve. The legend of Bigfoot endures, not as a campfire story, but as a genuine scientific mystery. And for researchers like Russell Accord and Mireya Mayor, the hunt is far from over. They continue to follow the heat signatures deeper into the shadows, armed with the conviction that one of the world's greatest enigmas is still waiting to be solved. For generations, the name Bigfoot has been synonymous with blurry photographs, questionable footprints, and campfire stories. The scientific community has largely dismissed the subject as a mix of hoax and misidentification. However, a paradigm shift is underway. By applying a rigorous, multidisciplinary scientific approach, the team, featuring former military survival expert Russell Accord, primatologist Dr. Mireya Mayor, and expedition operations Bryce Johnson, has amassed evidence that challenges the skeptical narrative and suggests that the creature known as Bigfoot is more than just a legend. Through this systematic process, the Expedition Bigfoot team has moved beyond anecdote and into the realm of tangible, if not yet conclusive, evidence. 1. The thermal encounter. In one of the most compelling episodes, the team's thermal cameras captured a large, bipedal figure moving through the forest. Dr. Mireya Mayor, a scientist trained in the identification of primates, immediately noted its anomalous characteristics. It was upright, moving with a purposeful bipedal gait that was completely distinct from a bear, she reported. Bears, when they walk on two legs, are awkward and shuffling. This was fluid. The proportions were all wrong for any known North American mammal. This analysis from a credentialed primatologist elevates the sighting from a mere glow in the dark to a significant behavioral and morphological observation. 2. The LiDAR revelation. Perhaps the most stunning evidence came from their use of LiDAR. While scanning a remote valley, the technology detected the heat signature of what appeared to be a large, bipedal creature. More importantly, as the team tracked its movement, the LiDAR unit simultaneously recorded a massive, three-dimensional shape matching the heat signature. This was not just a blurry image, it was a 30-foot-tall, coherent, solid form moving through the trees. The odds of this being a technological glitch are astronomically low, as two separate systems, thermal and LiDAR, corroborated the same data. 3. Forensic audio analysis. The team has recorded numerous vocalizations that defy easy classification. These sounds are not the howls of wolves or the cries of coyotes. They are analyzed with audio software, revealing complex layers and frequencies. On one occasion, a recorded howl was played back to a pack of wild wolves, who reacted not with answers, but with clear signs of fear and confusion. A behavior wildlife experts suggest indicates the presence of an unknown, dominant predator. 4. Ecological and behavioral plausibility. The team, led by Russell Accord's tracking expertise, has consistently found evidence on the ground that aligns with the hypothetical behavior of a large, intelligent primate. This includes bizarre stick structures that appear to be markers or shelters, and game trails with broken branches at heights of 7 to 8 feet, suggesting a tall, bipedal traveler. The Expedition Bigfoot team has not yet presented a body, a bone, or a clear photograph. However, To say they have found nothing is scientifically inaccurate. What they have assembled is a compelling corpus of convergent evidence. When thermal data, LiDAR imaging, anomalous audio, and physical trace evidence all point toward the same conclusion, the presence of a large, bipedal, unclassified primate, the burden of proof begins to shift. The team has successfully moved the discussion of Bigfoot from the pages of supermarket tabloids into a legitimate, if controversial, scientific dialogue. They have proven that Bigfoot is more than a legend by demonstrating that the phenomenon produces consistent, observable, and measurable effects. They have provided a scientific framework for its continued study, suggesting that the question is no longer if such a creature could exist, but how a species of such size and intelligence has managed to remain so elusive. The mystery endures, but thanks to their work, it is now a mystery being pursued with the tools and rigor of 21st-century science.